Hello, Mr. Mailer here, your online math teacher, and welcome to my channel. Today we're going to be continuing a video series on Excel tips, and in particular, looking at how we can build histograms in Microsoft Excel. So if you find this video helpful, consider hitting that like button and subscribing, and let's go. So if you've ever tried playing around with Excel to make histograms before, you'll realize that Excel actually is not very good at making histograms. As odd as it is the most popular graph we probably use in statistics, it's not good for. So what we're going to do, or the way I teach this, is we're going to trick Excel into making a good histogram for us. So I'll show us one example with discrete data and one example with interval data to see how we can trick Excel to do this, or how I trick Excel to do it. So I'm going to start with my discrete data, and I kind of have a frequency table here in a sense. So these are maybe in number of classes students are enrolled in at a school. So 1 class, 2 classes, 3 class, 4 class, 5 class, and here's the students. So the way we're going to trick Excel is we're going to treat it like a bar graph to begin with. So I'm going to click my little white plus sign and highlight all my data here. Then what I'm going to go do is go to insert, but instead of going to histogram here, or where it says insert statistics chart, because the histogram button doesn't work well, it's not great, I'm actually going to go up and hit my button that says insert bar or column chart. And I can't just click the top thing here, it's going to want to do weird things. So I'm going to go down to more column chart options. And I'm going to keep my column here. If you want to go the other direction, you can click bar, but I want column. And I just want a nice, plain, simple chart. So I'm going to highlight this second one here that labels 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 discretely underneath the bars like you would want in a histogram for discrete data. So I'm going to select that. I'm going to hit OK. Just like any of my other charts, if I want to add axes titles, I can hit my plus button and add them there. Or if that plus button is not showing up for some reason, just go up to add chart elements and add them. So I'm going to put down here number of classes enrolled in, and my y-axis is going to be the number of students. So number of students, how many classes are enrolled, and I'm going to say college data, for instance. And you'd say, Mr. Malo, this is a bar graph. I mean, it's okay, but the real reason why we like histograms is because order matters when we have histograms. And these aren't touching. We want them to kiss because they're next to each other. Well, that's fine. What I'm going to do is you're going to click on one of the bars and make sure you see all of your bars highlighted. Once you have that, on the right hand side, you'll hopefully see this Format Data Series tab. I'm going to go click on the button that says Series Options that looks like a histogram or a bar graph. I'm going to click that, and you'll see there's this thing that says Gap Width. Right now it's set at 219%. You're going to take that and bring it down to 0. Once you've done that, it makes the bars kiss like you want with a histogram. And then you're done. This is now a good histogram with discrete data with my numbers labeled underneath. So this is one way we can get Excel to make us a histogram through a roundabout method. Now, my other approach is if you have interval data. So I have another data set here in that case. So I have all the presidents listed as well as their ages through George W. Bush. And this is something like you might want in a class. Now, unfortunately, I don't have my data rearranged yet. I don't have it grouped together based on the intervals they're going to fall into. So I need to do that. Now, the way I'm going to do it to make my life easy, I don't want to just slowly try to count through this list. I'm going to reorder my list to help make this process easier. So I want to reorder by age. I want the ages to go from lowest to highest to help me when I'm making my my table to set up my intervals. So once I've highlighted the age column, so I just click on the B above it, I'm going to go over to the tab that says data, and you're going to see I have the A to Z down and Z to A button. If I were to click Z to A, it would sort largest to smallest. I want to go from smallest to largest, and I'm going to click on that. So even though it's numbers, Excel's smart enough to know that lowest to highest is what you mean there. It'll then bring up a sort warning. You want to make sure you have expand the section highlighted. Otherwise, it will rearrange these numbers from lowest to highest without moving the president's name next to it. So we don't want Washington or Adams to be assigned to Kennedy, or I think Roosevelt is one of the lowest ones. So make sure you have the expand the section highlighted. So I'm going to hit sort. And now it rearranges all this data, both columns from lowest to highest, based on this ages column. Now all you need to do is pick the intervals you're going to use and decide what you want in that. So in my case, I'm going to make my age intervals go from, and because I just want to start on nice even numbers, I'm going to go from 40 to 45. So I'm going to group them by fives. Now, if I'm going to do this, remember, if you're drawing histograms, the lower number is included and the upper number is excluded in it. So the way I denote it for this, and this isn't how you'd see it on a hand-drawn graph, but it's good enough for me. I'm going to say my first bar or bin is going to go from 40 and be inclusive to 45 and be exclusive. Then I'm going to go 45 inclusive up to 50 exclusive. And I'm going to keep doing this pattern until I have all my intervals. Once I've done that, what I need to do is I need to fill in my frequencies, or counts if you want to put it that way. FREQ, I'm just going to highlight that. It doesn't really matter. I'm going to relabel my graph once I've made it anyways. And then I'm just going to go through my list and count. There's more complicated ways to do this if you had way too big of a data set to count, but chances are you're not doing that if you're just looking at this for a basic high school or college statistics class. So we're just going to quickly scan through and count. And when I do that, I'll get the following frequencies. So here I go. And I should mention, this is presidents' ages at their first inauguration. Obviously, they have 4-year terms. They have varying age limits. So this is age at first inauguration. So this is good data. But once I've made the intervals I want, I've figured out how many presidents fell in each of these intervals, I'm going to highlight my data set with my little plus sign. I'm going to go to insert just like before, and I'm going to trick it with a bar graph. So I'm going to go down, and I'll go to more column chart options, and I am just going to select the one with my labels on the bottom. And I can add my titles, so I can do age on the bottom here. I could do frequency or count if I want here. Ages at first inauguration, and I probably can't spell inauguration right. That's why I teach math. But once I've done this, we're going to do the same trick to make it actually look like a histogram. You click one of your bars, see they're all highlighted. Then on the right-hand side under this Format Data Series tab, you click your histogram looking button. You're going to go to gap width, set that to 0, and now it looks like a good histogram. And by writing those interval labels on the bottom, you're actually reinforcing to yourself that rule that the lower number is included and the upper number is not included. So inclusive and then exclusive. And this is my trick for getting Excel to make good histograms using bar graphs, even though Excel's not very good at making histograms in general. So I hope you found this video helpful. If you did, consider hitting the like button and have an awesome day.